Improvement Service Committee to order, let it be recorded. Worry, Netting, Nicholson are present. Vanderleest is excused. I will seek approval of the minutes from the regular meeting of August 9th, 2017. Motion by Worry, second by Netting. Under discussion, hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Nays, motion carried. Thank you for your attention, everyone. Number 2, approval of the agenda. Motion by
Move to approve. Second.
Netting, second by Worry. Under discussion? Hear none, all in favor?
Aye.
Nays, motion carried. 3, consideration of possible action on request by Humberto Serrano to rescind the weed control and unsightly growth charge of 109 at 917 North Irwin. Director Grenier.
Received a letter from Mr. Serrano. Staff was on site on July 27th, noticed that grass was 9 to 12 inches long. Did a property recheck 4 days later on 7/31. Came back, cut on 8/1 of 17. Submitted the invoice to the property owner. Property owner returned a letter to my office indicating that he didn't receive a warning notice for the grass to be cut at that time. He was at the address every day between 7/15, July 15th and August 3rd because he ended the agreement with his storage unit and had to have all of his belongings out by August 1. On August 1, he showed up to cut the grass and it was already cut. He thought the neighbor had cut it. Thought maybe the neighbor was returning a favor for some things that he had done for the neighbor. So when we pulled the information, there was a prior from this property. And if you look at this back sheet, that'll show you the length of the vegetation at the time versus when we cut. So I guess we were out there on the 27th, did a recheck 4 days later. That's actually a multi-part form, correct?
Yes.
So there was a door hanger left indicating that we had done, the only time we don't leave when it's on a vacant property. So I don't know if it blew away in the wind or if somehow it just came off or what have you, but staff did leave a notice there indicating that we had been there on the 27th. Again, we did a recheck 4 days later where our policy on a non-vacant parcel is minimum 24 hours. This actually had 4 days. And then on day 5, we came back and cut, and that actually happened to be the day that the property owner had intended to come in. So because there was a prior on the property, that's something we can't deal with administratively, so we informed the property owner that his request to rescind had been denied and offered him the opportunity to come down and ask.
Okay, move to suspend the rules to hear from.
Motion by Netting to suspend the rules for interested parties. Is there a second?
I'll second it if we can just get a piece of information first. From the
Sure.
record. Thanks. When was the prior? Do we have a date?
July 5th of 2011.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. We're still under discussion. If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Nays, motion carried. Okay, the floor is now open. Just approach the bench. State your name and address for the record, please.
Humberto Serrano, 504 South Maple Avenue. Go ahead. Okay, so I've owned this property for the last 10 years. There was a prior citation. It was more of a rental property for me. But every time I have an issue with this like property with the city or the police department, I always get a letter. And every time I get a letter, I always call right away within 2 days. And I let them know what time and fashion I'll have the stuff done. Never had a problem. What's his name? Rob Cormier, I became friends with him. Every time he has an issue, he calls me, I go fix it. Never had a problem. The reason why I'm here about this letter is because my property, I had 2 storage bins and I was storing stuff in this property. So I had to be out by September 1st. I rent half of the property out to another tenant and the other property, the other half I keep for an office and stuff. So I was there from August 15th till September 3rd, pretty much every day except for Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I noticed the grass was long, and usually he has somebody cuts the grass. For some reason, the grass wasn't cut. And I called him up, he was out of town, I couldn't get a hold of him. And I told myself if by the 1st, and I had to surrender my property by the 1st, my storages, I said by the 1st, if it ain't cut, I'm just gonna cut it myself, then I'll talk to myself. every time, like I said, every time I have an issue with this property, I always get a letter. I did not receive a letter. I was there pretty much every day for the 15th to the 1st. Never saw a letter, never saw any kind of warning. If I would've got one, I would've called right away and said, I'll have the grass cut right away. That's why I'm bringing this attention. You know, every time there's an issue, I always get a letter also at my house. I got, you know, in the past, that weed one that happened, that was another tenant, never found it because he didn't cut the grass, so we paid it. But like I said, the only reason why I have an issue with this one is because I was there every single day and I did not see a notice on the door. And I mean, for a $110 charge, it takes 15 minutes to cut the grass. I think that's a little ridiculous, especially with no warning at all. Like I said, if I would've got a warning, I would've been on it right away. So that's why I'm here right now. Like I said, I've never had an issue with this building besides that, and every time there is something going wrong, I fix it right away, the minute I get an issue. So I've not got a kind of ticket besides that one in the last 10 years, or 6 years, whatever that was, because everything gets done right away.
How long have you owned the building?
Over 10 years. And one thing about it too, there is no handle on the building, it's a deadbolt, because I've had many people try to break in, and they broke the deadbolts, handles.
Right.
So I just have a deadbolt, so there's really no place to hang that, if that's what he's saying. So if they would tape, I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. If they would put on the door is a wood door, a solid thick wood door, about 4 inches, with a glossy paint, so if you try to tape something on there, it's not gonna stick. So if it was wooden, it would have blown it away. But like I said, there's a mailbox, like I said, it could have been put in there, but I didn't see nothing in the mailbox.
I got a question. Why do you need a warning to cut your grass?
Well, like I said, it's a tenant's responsibility to do it. And like I said, the only reason why I'm here for this, you know, if I wasn't there and this would have happened, I would have told the tenant, you gotta pay the bill. But because I was there every single day, never saw there's a warning letter, and I was planning to cut it anyway, you know, that's the reason why I'm here. Because I was gonna take responsibility for it if he didn't do it.
All right.
It happens to be the day I show up, the grass is cut. A couple of days before that, I cleared out storage. I have a neighbor that used to cut the grass, like back in the day for me when I didn't have rented. I gave her some stuff, so in return I thought maybe she cut the grass for me, knowing it was a little hard. Didn't know who cut the grass until 4 or 5 days later, I received this letter with this bill. I'm like, okay, this is a little bit outrageous.
Okay. Any questions from the committee for Mr. Serrano?
No.
Okay, thank you. Do you have any more information you want to?
No, well, like I said, the only, like you said, the only thing I'm saying is, you know, if you lack off on something, you get a bill, like, you know, I'll take full responsibility for it. But like I said, this is just an issue that I never saw, there was nothing there, and like I said, there's no handle, so you can't hang it, there's a solid wood door on the closet thing, you can't put it on there. They would put it in a mailbox, I would have seen it, but it wasn't in a mailbox either, so I have no clue what happened to this warning letter. But that's pretty much it, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, it never happened again.
Anybody else from the audience? If not, I'll entertain a motion to return to regular order of business.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Wery to return to regular order of business, second by Nenning, under discussion. Hear none, all in favor?
Aye.
Ayes, motion carried. Okay, we are in regular order of business. Does anybody have any concerns or questions?
Well, I presume this was a
Alderman
complaint,
Manning.
right, that we responded to?
I would presume that as well. It doesn't necessarily say on the tag, but that would be logical.
Okay. And in terms of a situation like this where there's an absentee landlord, you know, the landlord gets the bill if there is a bill, and I guess it's, you know, the procedure, we really don't send out letters on this. We just put a notice and then we come back and do the work. Is that the
Correct,
policy?
unless it's a vacant parcel where we can't serve a notice. But yeah, there was a change in the policy probably 6 or so years ago. Mr. Weiser was a director at the time, when we went down to a 24-hour notice and came to the current policy of leaving something on site unless it was a vacant parcel. The time and the expense of trying to send letters out and getting that within a reasonable time period, you know, if we got a landowner who lives in, you know, in Florida, for instance, and we do have those, by the time the letter gets there, the grass could be 18 inches long.
Any other questions, Dave?
No, not at this point.
Chris, do you have anything?
Nope, motion to rescind.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor to rescind. Is there a second?
I'll second it. I think that the property owner has expressed, you know, a cooperative attitude, and you know, I can understand the issue here, I believe you that you didn't get the notice. If you had it, I trust that you would have taken it.
I am not gonna support it. I don't know why. If you gotta cut your lawn and it's 9/11, 12 inches long, you need a warning from the city, and the city's gotta be responsible about giving the warning. I just don't understand that, because where I live, I don't remember ever letting my lawn getting to 11 or 12, even if I own rental units, which I do own other property, and I make sure that property is taken care of. I don't need warning. And I'm not gonna put the responsibility on the city. I would put the responsibility on myself. I would be responsible for the property that I would own for any type of maintenance. So I cannot support this. So, all in favor?
I,
And I'm a nay. All right, Mr. Serrano, this is a recommendation. It goes to the full city council that will meet next Tuesday on the 19th. Is that true,
Yep.
Steve?
Yes.
On the 19th. And that's at 7 o'clock in the chambers. I would advise you to be there. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving forward. Okay, consideration with possible action on request by DDL Holdings LLC to enter into a developer's agreement for infrastructure construction associated with the rail yard development, Kellogg Street, Fallon Driver Way, and Bond. Director Kinnear.
This is a request, actually for the developer, or for the director to draft an agreement and have the mayor and clerk to execute. This is similar in scope to the developer's agreement that we bring to you for residential subdivisions. However, it's for commercial property at the rail yard. The primary benefit for the developer is the timing to construct. If you were to go through regular city process, it's a rather timely period to do the design and get those items bid out using public bidding, whereas a developer can do that much more expeditiously. Another primary benefit to the developer is it eliminates the need for city to assess special assessments for these types of things, because he is going to front that development cost and then dedicate the infrastructure over to the city when he's completed. This is similar in nature, but somewhat different. I want to make sure we call that out. It's somewhat different than what we did on the University Avenue corridor in the fact that this is brand-new development. It's brand-new infrastructure that does not exist today. It's not a reconstruct, so we're not going to be adversely impacting traffic like happened up on University. So again, it's brand-new infrastructure. It's not a reconstruct. Everything is built, the design is reviewed and approved by city staff. It's built to city standards, and city actually provides the construction inspection, which the developer pays for. So staff would recommend authorizing the director to draft that final agreement and have mayor and clerk execute the agreement. The reason I don't have one for you, most of that's boilerplate language that you've seen. That which changes is the actual costs that we hold back in an escrow account. And that hasn't been finalized because that's dependent on the length of the street, the length of the sewer. We just haven't come to final determination on that, but that'll be worked out, and that's what we're hoping to.
Any
get
questions or
people for.
concerns for the director?
real quick one. Thanks, Mr. Chairman.
Alderman Wery.
Are they looking to do this next year?
I think they're looking to have the infrastructure in place by next summer. They would like to start working possibly even this fall.
I move to approve it.
Motion by Nenning to
Second.
approve, second by Wery, under discussion. Hear none, all in favor, nays, motion carried. Okay, moving forward, number 5, consideration with possible action, request by Alderman Moore to review parking utility to include hours of operation, time spent in neighborhoods, revenues through citations, staffing. Director Grenier.
We would recommend referring this to staff so I have time to meet with Alderman Moore to make sure we capture everything that he wants so we can get the report right.
Okay, move to refer to staff.
Motion by Nenning to refer to staff, second by Wery, under discussion. Hear none, all in favor, nays, motion carried. 6, consideration of possible action on the request by Alderman Vanderleest to draft a resolution to Governor Walker and Wisconsin legislatures from Northeast Wisconsin to increase general transportation aid permit payments to help offset city road construction, maintenance, and traffic operations, to have the city finance director come up with a plan to allocate, who wrote this for you? Current city funds to increase funding for city road construction and road maintenance, 2018, 2019?
The rough draft there, Andy.
Holy
Take a breath. You don't have
smokes.
to read it all in one breath.
Well, what attorney wrote that for you? Alderman Vanderleest, go ahead, got the floor.
This proposal would be forwarded ahead to the state legislator and the governor's office, and basically to get some help on the roads. It's not a real big issue to request money, if it's depending on their budget, if there's money that's available, we'd be happy to take it. And all I'm asking is that we forward ahead and try to get some money.
Yeah.
And that's basically what it boils down to. If you don't ask, you don't get anything. So we're just asking. That's basically what I'm...
Any questions or concerns to Alderman Vanderleest?
Yeah. Certainly, we can draft a resolution, send it to our legislators. I don't know about the second half of this, to have the city finance director come up with a plan to allocate current city funds. I mean, that's really the budget that we adopt.
I think we're going to be talking about it at the next session here very soon,
Yeah.
about what we're going to be allocating toward the roads. I guess maybe this is just a little... We can, if you want to delete that part, that's fine. We can scratch that part of it. If I forget the city part, we can do the other part as well. I know that the roads are going to be coming up as an issue, how much money we're going to be spending. And I know we're going to have to increase the spending on the roads, because basically that's the sentiment of the whole community, that people want their roads fixed. And how we go about it, that's, that's a big part of it.
Okay, entertain a motion. Unless someone else has more concerns, go for it. It's your communication.
Yeah, just move forward on it.
Motion to approve by Vanderleest. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Worry. Under discussion.
Would this include the
Alderman
language? I know
Warren.
Alderman Vanderleest, you included some of the points you wanted included. Those are all, I think, appropriate points. Obviously, the last one has to do with the city. That wouldn't be included. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, looks good then.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Nays, motion carried. 7, do we need Zimmer here? Director Grenier?
Actually, Alderman Zimmer had to leave to attend another meeting, and he requested that we hold this item until the
Okay.
next meeting.
I'll entertain a motion to that effect.
Move to hold till...
Motion to hold by Nenning, second by Worry, to our next meeting under discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Nays, motion carried. 8, possible action and request of Department of Public Works on proposed 2018 parking division rates and fees reports. Director Grenier?
We provided you with a memo that summarizes the history of parking rates and fees, what they're used for, where they come from. So largest portion of our rates and fees come from a combination of parking ramp and lot rentals, either monthly or hourly. We do have some parking citations, some late fees on top of citations, and then if folks request to put parking meters for various reasons. Recommendations for 2018 based on anticipated needs. Again, parking division of Department of Public Works is a special revenue fund. We are not on the levy, so our revenues have to balance our expenses. And based on anticipated expenses for 2018, we are proposing that rental rates stay at the current level, no increase for 2018 over 2017 rates. Hourly parking ramp rates, so all of our ramp rates for transient parking remain at current levels, no change. The on-street hourly meter rates are proposed to go from 75 cents an hour to 80 cents per hour, so it's a nickel per hour increase. Maintain our existing parking citation rates, no change from 2017, and maintain the parking meter hooding rate at the current level from 2017. So the only change we're proposing this year is on-street meters going from 75 cents an hour to 80 cents an hour. And then we provided you with some supplemental information regarding the history of when we've had increases and what those increases were.
Any questions or concerns for our director?
The only question I had
Alderman Nenning.
was with the disabled parking citation rate going up substantially last year, did it help to get better compliance?
Offhand, I don't know, but that's definitely something we can look into.
Okay, I was just curious.
Generally, we don't issue a lot of disabled parking citations. I would well less than 100 a year, if even 50. Um,
Okay, I don't know.
I could poll staff and get an answer for you.
Yeah, I was just curious about that.
Any other concerns or questions? If
Quick
not, I
question.
have one.
One
Director,
quick question.
Alderman Vanderleest.
On the parking in the, let's say in the ramps, is revenues, are they up? As far as when they put in all the new kiosks?
It's really too early to tell. We're only at the beginning of September, and the automated only went active in July.
End of July,
So
we were
it-
fully
it's really
activated.
too early for us to know. There were a couple of minor bugs that we found with it. I guess one of the things that we could inform you about, the exit and entry gates are a little bit sensitive to making, you have to make sure that the gate comes completely down, and that's when the computer understands that that transaction has completed. And if folks are following too closely together, the automated parks equipment interprets that to be an oversized vehicle like a bus. And the way the cards are set up, there's a feature associated with the cards that's called a passback feature, okay? That each pass is individual, and you have to scan it in, and the very next operation you make with that pass has to be a scan to exit the ramp. You can't have two consecutive entries. It'll cause a fault, and then you have to get a call for service from an EA or an MEA. The reason for that is you don't want somebody using their pass to pass 4 people in, okay? When you're following too close, even though you scanned your badge, the computer isn't interpreting that because the gate never came down and it didn't receive the second signal. So we put in some speed bumps, and we've got some signs ordered that should be here and installed by the end of the week, if I remember correctly, that will tell patrons both on entry and on exit, stop here until the gate comes down fully, and that'll eliminate one of the biggest bugs that we had. But other than that, from staff perspective, it's been working fantastic.
Is that monitored with a camera as they exit those?
I don't believe so, no.
No,
We've got.
we have interactive audio, push to talk.
There are certain places, I think over near the parking office, there may be a camera or so, but not every gate
There
and not
might
every
be a
ramp.
small camera, like a cell phone type camera. If they pushed it for assistance, you can see the driver's face, but it's not monitored per se actively.
My only question, that's it. Thank you.
Okay. I guess I got a question, Director Grenier. I'd like to see rates and fees to be increased.
Okay, do you have any particular proposal that you,
I guess I could work on one, but a small increase, I mean, I think that would benefit us.
well,
Wouldn't hurt us.
we do have a little bit of time. This, the rates.
I'd like to
obvious-
see something.
The rates obviously become part of the budget process, so
Right.
by the time we get through there, but I mean, we could take this up again in 2 weeks, I don't think that'd be.
Could we?
Yeah, and if you've got some ideas on where you think,
All right.
where you think the rates should go up, Chris and I can sit down and we can come up with a proposal on where those expenses would then be
I
attributed.
would like to see that. Do you want me to touch base with you then,
Absolutely.
Steve? Okay.
Sure.
Good. Should we hold it up then?
Yeah, if you want to hold it
Is
for
that
2
okay,
weeks, that would be fine.
gentlemen?
Sure.
Okay, I make a motion to hold, so I can have a discussion with our Director of Department of Public Works, please. That's my motion.
Second?
Okay, motion by Nicholson, second by Worry, under discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Nays, motion carried. Thank you.
Fees on the east side.
Well, it's gonna be triple in Fort Howard. Number 9, consideration of possible action on request by Department of Public Works on proposed 2017-2018 winter contractor rates report. Director Grenier.
As you know, we do contract out with private entities to assist us with snow removal. Typically, what we're using is either graders or loaders that are equipped for plowing. We first completed this exercise because rates had not increased since 2013, and we were getting less and less folks who were willing to plow for us. So what we're looking at doing is a grader or a loader with a wing and operator. We're proposing to go from $97.50 an hour from 2016-17 rate up into the 2017-18 winter rate of $105 an hour. A small loader with an operator that has less than a 3 cubic yard capacity would go from $65 to $68.50 per hour. A large loader and operator greater than or equal to 3 cubic yards in capacity goes from $83.50 per hour, stays at $83.50 per hour. And the hourly rate for these folks to attend staff meetings and get instruction, things like that, where it's not necessarily associated with a plow event, we do some training, some safety things, things of that nature. Goes from $18 to $20 an hour. The rest of these rates, part of what we do is we take a look at average, trying to think of what the name of it is, it's the white sheet.
Yeah, the white sheet's like
That's,
workforce.
anecdotally, that's what I know it as. The white sheet is the published state rate for equipment and operators that's used in the construction trade. So we reference that, and there were some of these things that we just were not financially competitive with.
Any concerns or questions for the director? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion to approve by Worry, second by Nutting, under discussion. Hear none, all in favor? Ayes, motion carried. Moving forward to number 10. Consideration, possible action on report of the purchasing manager. 10A, request approval to purchase a 2-post vehicle lift from Halrun Lubricants for $14,000. Rick?
This went up for bid on a RFQ. We had 8 responses. The recommendation is to award to the low bidder, Paul Run Lubricants, for $14,000.
Any motion by Nutting to approve, second by Worry, under discussion. Here none, all in favor?
Aye.
Nays, motion carried. B, request approval to award a contract for replacement of streetlight poles and bases to Bodart Electric for $35,089. Rick?
This is an installation labor. I guess some of the bases are constructed by the contractor, but mostly the city's providing the materials. Bodart will just be doing the replacement. We put this out for bid, had 2 responses recommending award to the low bidder, Bodart Electric, for $35,089.
Any questions or concerns? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
To approve.
Motion to approve by Nutting, second by Vanderleest, under discussion. Hear none, all in favor?
Aye.
Nays, motion carried. C, request approval to amend the city's contract with Honeywell to include a software upgrade for DPW HVAC systems for $22,791. Rick?
The city currently has a contract with Honeywell for City Hall and the HVA systems at DPW East and West. We upgraded the City Hall control system in, I think it was 2015. This went to the Parks Committee, which approved. The situation at DPW East and West has not gotten any better. The equipment that they're using to manage their HVAC system is an old Windows 95 PC containing software that could fail at any time, and it's not replaceable. And it can't be migrated to a new PC. So once this control system blows up, we are out of luck. So the new software can maintain and control the HVAC systems from remote portable devices, so that's an advantage. And it manages the HVAC system.
You had me at Windows 95.
What's that?
You had me at Windows 95.
Oh, okay.
We often tell you guys that, you know, we will get every last bit of life out of something. I'm not kidding. I think the parts equipment that we just replaced with the automated parts was similarly running on a Windows 95 based computer.
Wow.
Alderman Vanderleest, you got a question for the director?
What was the savings, Rick, you know, offhand with the City Hall when they redid City Hall as far as the new system? Was there substantial savings as well?
There was, and I didn't review that document. It was well documented, and there was a citywide analysis done of energy savings, and I could provide that information, but
In other words, there's a cost savings as far as upgrading this system.
There was when it was at City Hall. I think what you're going to find and what you get out of the report was those cost savings are not as great at the east and west side garages. With City Hall, we're largely a closed system, a closed building. And that was one of the energy efficiency recommendations they had, was to do some enhancements to the HVAC system and make sure you keep the windows and doors closed. By the very nature of our business, we have a lot of open
Doors are
doors
open.
and windows.
Yeah.
So it's more for air handling and air exchange. And then the HVAC is more comfort and climate control within the office type spaces. So there may be a cost savings, we may get some efficiencies with the new control equipment, but it's not gonna be as drastic as what we saw at City Hall because of the fact that we operate with our doors open a lot.
And plus, you're gonna have a new system, it's gonna be quite a bit better as far as management. You'll know
Well, there's
what's-
the management, because it can be managed remotely, and right now it can only be managed from, I don't even know where that PC
One
resides.
PC at each-
Probably on the west side.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Van Early, second by Waring. Under discussion, Dave?
No.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Nays, motion carried. 11, report on award of a contract bridge 3-17, Director Grenier.
Okay, this is one of the contracts from over the summer that the committee and council gave us the ability to act on at a staff level, so we're reporting this out. Bridge 3-17 encompasses several bridges in across the city that have routine maintenance items. Again, trying to make sure we get that work done before weather turns against us. We received 2 bids. One was from Central Restoration LLC in the amount of $65,116. The other was from Drax Incorporated in the amount of $138,000. Glad to see the $65,000 bid. That was in line, when we combined that with other expenses, that was definitely in line with what we had in the CIP. So staff did award that contract to get the work moving, and we are reporting that award out to you now.
So what are you looking for, just a receive and
This
place on
is a
file?
receive and place on file report.
Motion receive and place on file by Worry, second by Nenning.
Yeah.
Under discussion, here none, all in favor?
Aye.
Nays, motion carried. 12, consideration of possible action and authorized payment for the following awards of damage for temporary limited easements. Mather Street, how do you pronounce that? Roman Street to Roy Avenue. Parcel 8 would be Jeffrey Nazi and Sarah Nazi, $50. And parcel 2-3, Breton Chambers, $50. Director Grenier.
Okay, as with the WISDOT funded projects that we have coming forward, it's not uncommon that we're bringing forward requests for real estate awards. In this particular case, the city's right-of-way specialist has attempted to contact these 2 parcel owners multiple times. The residents are either non-responsive or not available. Sometimes they simply don't want to sign the paperwork. There's a fear and distrust of government.
Really?
So the method involves having the municipal court award damages to the residents in the prescribed amount. As we've told you on multiple projects like this, we go through and do we set up the appraisal, we do the cost book for the project, a cost per square foot is identified, we multiply that times the number of square feet that are impacted, and if it comes below a minimum cost, then we bump that up to a minimum cost. On this project, the minimum cost is $50. So we're recommending that we simply award damages in the amount of $50 and go through the process. Again, residents either weren't available despite multiple attempts to meet with them, or have simply indicated, no, I'm not signing anything. So here we award them the damages and then move forward.
Questions or concerns for the director?
Move to approve.
Motion to approve by Nenning, second by
No, second.
Van Early. Under discussion, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Nays, motion carried. 13, consideration of possible action on applications for concrete sidewalk builders licensed by the following. 13A, Consolidated Construction Company. 13B, Fisher Concrete. Director Grenier.
Consolidated has held a sidewalk builder's license in the past. Fisher Concrete has not, but we recommend approving Consolidated and approving Fisher contingent upon acceptable reference check, which we do anticipate getting.
Any questions or concerns? If not, entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Van Early, second by Worry. Under discussion? Here none, all in favor?
Aye.
Nays, motion carried. 14, Director's Report on recent activities of the Public Works Department. Director Grenier.
Okay, a couple of things for you quickly. Bulk and Overflow Week is going on this current week. That was publicly noticed and was part of the calendar that was handed out at the beginning of the year. Fall loose leaf collection schedule has been released, and you should have received a copy of that by email. We are looking at starting, it can be placed to the curb no earlier than Monday, October 2nd. First round of collection will be Monday, October 9. We are going to collect for 6 weeks, and we will end collection Friday, November 17th. That means all fall loose leaf or yard waste has to be to the curb no later than November 12th. If folks put stuff out after November 12th, it will be collected at a cost to the resident after the last rotation is completed. So we're going for 6 full weeks out here.
Does that accommodate all the late falling leaves? I mean, some trees don't let their leaves down until pretty late. Is that pretty much what you've seen in the past, accommodate all of that?
We're hoping that it does. Part of this is a lot of the same equipment we use for loose leaf collection is utilized for plowing, and I need 3 weeks to get that equipment swapped out. And after November 17th, we are really, really rolling the dice on whether or not I need plow vehicles.
What's the latest we've collected leaves in the past?
Probably about
And
November
it's November
17th.
17th is the Friday before deer season.
I think
That's pretty much it.
This may be the latest that we've
Okay.
had a published last day of collection. We typically end closer to the first week of November.
So it should accommodate everybody.
Yeah, we have pushed the envelope about as far as I can feel comfortable doing so.
So you can put it to the curb from October 2nd through November
November
12th. And just like in the past, you want people to keep leaves separated from other yard waste.
With leaves and yard waste in the fall collection, I don't think
You
it's
can
as
put
big
it
a deal.
together, but if you do
Leaves-
separate it, it can, depending on the vehicles as they're assigned, I can't
But
guarantee.
definitely leaves and brush, woody debris definitely is separate
Okay,
from yard waste.
okay.
We are currently, the last 2 weeks, I've been dedicating significant portion of my time on the budget. We're pretty close to having budget numbers ready to get punched into the financial software with the finance department. I did want to give you just a brief report on the director's report that despite our attempts, we got 3 people across different departments, 3 different departments in City Hall, all collectively working on various issues with railroads. And we're simply not getting much in the way of response from the railroads. So I just wanted to give you a quick update. We haven't forgotten about it. We are working on it. When I do have something to report, I will get it rostered. I will put it on an agenda. We'll bring it back for discussion. But to put it on there for me to come back and tell you I have nothing to report doesn't seem very productive. One thing I did want to bring to your attention, I'm hoping that we're going to get this on the council agenda for next week. Last week, Wednesday, City of Green Bay hosted the Snowplow Rodeo again at Lambeau Field. Darren Olson with City of Green Bay Department of Public Works actually had a first place showing. Darren placed 5th in 2015, 2nd in 2016, and then won here in 2017. He is going on to Loveland, Colorado
Yes.
at the end of this month, I think the 28th and 29th, to compete in the National Snowplow Rodeo. In addition to Darren winning the overall rodeo, the rodeo has 3 components to it. There's a written exam, there is a disabled vehicle that has 10 things wrong with it that a driver has to find during a typical pre-trip inspection, and then there's the obstacle course, which has various obstacles out there, and it is a timed event. Darren won the overall, but in addition to Darren's performance in the overall, we had 4 drivers, Josh Brassfield, Steve Gandy, Creed Hout, and Kelly Stacy, who scored perfect scores on the written exam. So I just want to bring that to your attention. Obviously, the committee knows how I feel about my staff, but I do feel that this is very indicative of the skill and the pride that's exhibited by all DPW staff across the board and how they approach their jobs. It just so happens this is a competition where these 5 individuals were able to do something that the community could see and be measured by it. But in my estimation, this the performance of these 5 individuals is indicative of all of the staff and the ethic that they bring forward to their job. So I just wanted to make sure you folks knew about that. That's the end of my report.
I just have one quick question. Steve, on Shawano Avenue, as you go down,
Yes,
I noticed they pulled out a lot of lead pipes.
Correct.
And they cut all those are all, in other words, that whole, looks like the whole district there was full of lead pipes, huh?
yes,
In other words, they did it from across the street, that's how they did it, huh? Where the main line is and they pull it right underneath.
yep.
I saw the big hunks laying there. I mean, it all looked like it was about, maybe inch diameter pipe.
Yeah, it's probably 1-inch pipes.
Boy, it was a ton of it there.
Yeah, there was.
So that's a big improvement then for those
We have been
residents.
working cooperatively with water utility, and I think we're about a third of the way done with the, if I remember correct, Ranger. Give or take, we're about a third of the way done with the lead service replacements.
I
So it's really moving forward. We're happy.
And what's nice too, it just happened to repair some of the bad patches on,
They hit some of the area too there.
It did. It did.
not all of them, but some. You had mentioned, I'm sorry, are you done? Oh,
No, that's all I
You had
wanted.
mentioned that, okay, Mr. Chairman, I don't want to.
It's okay.
Jump the
Alderman Worry
gun
from
here.
the Fort Howard District.
You mentioned the budget, and I know,
Yeah.
we all know it's going to be a tough one coming in. Is it looking like it's going to be all right, or are we going to have some big decisions ahead of us? I mean, just,
I think overall, we're gonna have some big decisions. I've told you in the past, I continue to maintain the mantra. I am doing everything I can to try to hold the line with DPW's budget. I can't control what other departments are doing. I know there are other departments who are asking for more. The one big item that at least I've tentatively placed in there is we have a line item in our operating budget that's called city equipment usage. And what we do with that is we establish rates for every piece of equipment that we have. And every time we use a piece of equipment, that money comes out of the general fund and it goes into our equipment replacement fund. And then we use that to buy new and replacement equipment. Chris and I have been working on this for the almost 5 years that I've been the director. We are charging ourselves, we are billing ourselves that equipment out at a rate only a fraction of what the state white sheet rate is, and as a result, equipment continues to get more expensive if we're not transferring enough of that money over out of the general fund into, it's essentially an escrow fund, if you will, to buy equipment. We're not stockpiling enough money away, and our ability to replace equipment is really starting to be hampered. As a matter of fact, last year, that was one of the things that was done to balance the budget. 2 garbage trucks came out of our equipment replacement program. We reduced that number back down to previous year funding levels, and we instead went out and bonded for it. Now, with some of our equipment, I don't know, we could look at potentially loaders or some of those kind of things that we replace infrequently that have a longer lifespan, but that's a policy decision. I'll leave that with you guys gladly. My opinion, I don't think it makes a whole lot of sense to bond for something that only has an 8-year lifespan, which a garbage truck does. So there are some challenges, but I am really, really trying hard.
no reduction in services, or?
At this point, no. If instead we get into the budget hearings and funding starts to be reduced, that will, Alderman Vanderleest has heard me say this through the budget task force. Unfortunately, I'm just at a spot where I don't have any fluff. Anything that I had, any discretionary funding or emergency, rainy day funds that I had, we pretty much cut all that. If we start cutting anything that's measurable from DPW, it's going to be a service cut. It'll have to.
Do you know what percentage we're allowed under the expenditure stream?
That I
Do you
don't,
have
I
something
think,
for
I
that?
think finance director has some preliminary numbers, but offhand, I don't know what they are.
Okay, I'll talk to him.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions? Steve, when you had the dates for the leaf pickup.
Yeah.
Is there a way we could have an announcement at City Hall or City Council next week on that?
Absolutely.
And then the following City Council meeting in October, do
Um,
we have a couple of them?
I
So the
think we
public,
can,
I mean,
and I
as
think,
much as we can do.
well, I think the easiest way to do that.
Because I know we had an issue last fall with an alderman, and I don't want to get into that again.
Couple of them.
Couple of them. Murray.
What I would prefer to do is if I could summarize just the dates instead of this large thing.
Oh, yeah, that, yeah.
Somebody,
Right.
If somebody would like to volunteer, I would be more than happy to provide that to one of the alders and during announcements.
I can
if you
do
wanted
that.
to do that, I think that'd be the easiest way to get that
Chairman likes to hear
introduced.
himself talk.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I love talking. All right, moving along, receive and place on file, accept as a motion on director's report by Netting, second by Weary. Under discussion here, none, all in favor?
Aye.
Moving forward. 16? No, 15, consideration, I already had it knocked off. Consideration of possible action on the review and award the following contracts. A, Parks Project 3-17 Bay Beach, West Train Ride. B, Pavement 4-17. C, Traffic Signal Repair 2017 Director Grenier.
Parks 3-17 is the west train ride at Bay Beach, received one bid. Advanced Construction Incorporated in the amount of $1,203,518.85. We did receive concurrence from Parks Department earlier today, recommending award of that. Pavement 4-17.
Sorry, Director Grenier, the Friends Group's paying for that, right?
Nope,
No?
nope, this is out of Bay Beach funds.
Oh, the baby, that's what I had. I misspoke. It's out
Okay.
of their separate segregated funds, right?
Yes, yes, this is out of,
Revenue,
Okay.
generally.
yes. Pavement 4-17 received two bids there. Peters Concrete Company is the low responsive bidder in the amount of $113,260.70. And Traffic Signal Repair, we received 3 bids. Benton Construction Company was the low responsive bidder in the amount of $63,821.90, and staff does recommend award to the low responsive bidder.
Any concerns or questions for
No.
the director?
Move to approve. the
Motion to
recommended-
approve by Netting,
Who's a good singer?
second by Vanderleest. Under discussion. Here none, all in favor?
I,
Nays, motion carried. I believe this is the last agenda item.
You're correct.
16, consideration of possible action on request by Green Bay Public Arts Commission to install rotating art sculptures at the center of the green space at Newhall and Main Streets. Director Grenier.
There's a large green space that resulted from the realignment of Main Street. I believe it was in about 2005, 2002, 2005, somewhere in that neighborhood. This is kind of north of Earl's Tent and Awning, if you want to think of that. So, large green space resulting over there. Public Arts Commission has identified that as a nice proposed location for their rotating arts program. Staff is in support of that. Normally, we take forward a hold harmless agreement, but because the Public Arts Commission is a function of city government, we don't need that. All we would do is recommend that approval of that location subject to approval of the actual location by DPW staff. We want to make sure it's on a clear space and things of that nature, so we'll work cooperatively with the Public Arts
It's
Commission.
in my district, so I'll move to approve it.
Motion to approve by Netting, second by
nice to see these have a little culture.
Vanderleest.
So I'm gonna
Under
second it.
discussion.
I'm gonna second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Nays, motion carried. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Wery, second by Netting. Under discussion here now, all in favor?
Aye.
Nays, motion carried.